Welcome back to another Blunt Talk. On this planet, I've come to realize that the majority of the trauma and the PTSD that humans hold onto is held onto because they don't have anywhere to set it down. It's held onto because they're told they have to hold it. The majority of even black men, don't whatever happens. This is what I learned. Whatever happens inside the home stays inside the home. This is supposed to be biblical taught to me when I was a child. Happens inside the home stays inside the home. No. The Bible says what happens in the dark will come to light. So let me shine some light. I have PTSD and I have trauma well before becoming homeless. I had problems and held on to and was sucked into generational curses, as most of us are. And instead of us as a community, I'm not going to use color on this, instead of us as a community coming together, realizing the trauma that has been given to us, bestowed upon us, gifted to us, we allow it to just keep flipping over and going and going and going because it would be too much work to try to change what's broken. And ever so once in a while, a family will have a child that is born. Multiple families, multiple prophets, multiple black sheeps that are born to press against the norm. We are sent to make you uncomfortable because we're already uncomfortable when we get here on this planet. It wasn't made for us. But we were sent with a purpose, and that purpose is to press against the norm. What's normal to the spider is chaos for the fly. I have been pressing against the norm all my life. All my life, I have felt weird, awkward, left out, bullied, treated poorly, talked about, laughed at, you name it, they did it. All the while thinking it was me. Oh, I'm weird, it's gotta be me. Oh, I'm not the same as them, it's gotta be me. Oh, it's not the. No one ever sat down while I was suicidal as a child and explained to me this is what it was. Nobody ever just stopped. Hey, let's stop the trauma. We see that it's causing trauma. Let's stop the trauma. Let's try a different avenue. Black people never, sorry to say that color, but humans never want to try a different avenue. Stick to what you know, even if it's not helping you grow. I have felt uncomfortable with certain things that have happened in my timeline. And I have held on to them for years, waiting and hoping that someone will come and, like I said, tell me where to put it down. Where do you lay it at? Where do you dig a ditch and just put it down? I've been going to therapy for the past 6 years. I've had the same therapist for the past 6 years. All the while I've had this therapist, none of my family members have reached out, contacted, tried to learn about, tried to educate themselves on any tactic that had to do with just me alone. If you wanted better for me, you would have sought out better for me. Do you understand? I had to come to terms in my room by myself with, yes, there was a lot of enemies, and their faces I cannot remember. But there were a lot of frenemies too. And y'all faces I remember. See, I remember the little things as a child questioning, why doesn't this feel like love? Why am I not being loved? I hear these adults saying that they love me. I hear these adults saying that they also were not loved as children properly. So why are they not trying to love me correctly? Some children can just brush things off. Oh, well, they didn't give me a hug today. They didn't say they love me, but... And some of us, we pay attention to that. Some of us, we count it. How many hugs have I not gotten? How many times did they not say they love me? Damn, how many times I've been sitting here waiting for you to come and pick me up? Damn, how many times did that nigga lie on me and you believed him? Damn. And you see, as a child, you sit and you start to try to make sense of things that you never even experienced. How can you make sense of something you've never experienced? So as a child, I tried to make sense of why my mother and my father, the father from this planet, this plane, knew they had their own trauma, knew they had their own PTSD, but was constantly telling me that I was crazy. I was the lost one. See, I sat in my room the other day and I cried. I had to cry it out. God gave me somewhere, and I begged and I begged and I begged. Y'all have no idea. For somewhere that I can go and cry. And I'm going to be as real as possible on this video because, like I said, very soon I won't have to be here no more. Y'all will. But as a human, a spiritual being, I begged for somewhere I could go and lay my burdens down. Because I didn't have a home as a child that I could do that in. I've watched the movie Baby Boy since the first time it came out. I want to say I was maybe a teenager. And in watching it the first time, it wasn't funny, but it was kind of like I know that life. Watching it now today, it's definitely not funny, and I don't want any part of that life. You see, I don't want to be attached to anybody that is okay with breaking another to fix this one over here. I've never broken anyone to try to go fix another. As a child, I tried to keep my family together the best way I knew how. Like I said, as a child, I tried to make sense of a lot of bullshit that I didn't have anywhere to go lay it down. And I remember one distinct thing that bothered me as a child. There's a lot. But it was the fact that my mother turned her back on me for her husband. It was the fact that my father turned his back on me for his wife. You see, I'd be the same child that would open my doors to them. But you closed yours to me. I sit in this room, I sit in this house, and I thank God every day for it. Because I have somewhere to work through my trauma. He sits with me on a daily, and he helps me work through my trauma. He don't close no doors on me. He don't hang up no phones on me. He don't leave me outside in a van hungry. He don't leave my dog alone. He don't let my dog get murdered or eaten. My father sits with me and allows me to cry and open up and be myself. We laugh, we dance, we sing. And I genuinely have learned how to live without human contact. Once I sat and I really realized how much I lacked human contact even as a child. You sit and you start to be okay with it. You see, people make science experiments saying that you would die without human contact. That's a lie. When we watch movies like Don't Be a Menace to Society, blah, 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 drinking, blah, 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 blah. Movies like Baby Boy, uh, Set It Off. When we watch all these movies that show the African American trauma, y'all watch VH1, Love and Hip Hop, this and that. You can watch all of this trauma and then still get up and not be a solution to it. Why would I want to be around that? No matter in any capacity that it comes in. As a child, I felt uncomfortable speaking. I'm very articulate. I can read any book. I got a bunch of books here. Any book at whatever speed I want to. And I wish that my mother, I wish that my mother would have really saw that for something. You see, them being born in the 60s, I learned geometry and trig and whatever, blah, blah, blah. They had arithmetic. I remember all the time while growing up, my mom telling me that. Well, I had to learn arithmetic, and all we had was grammar or something she used to call it instead of English or some shit, whatever. And I would have thought my mom would have seen the generational curses I was just breaking by being able to just read at an early age. I would have hoped she would have poured into me what she hoped others would have poured into her. And I say it all the time. Like I said, how can I pour something that I've never experienced? But then I have a cat and a dog here because I try to make excuses. Well, maybe because they never experienced it, but what I experience, I give them the opposite of. If that can make sense. I did not experience properly how to be loved, but I did experience how to be unloved. And so therefore, whatever my first reaction is, I do the opposite with them. Call me crazy, but it's my way of breaking a generational curse. So sitting in a family where you're articulate, you got words going. They're going. You taught me these words to use, and then every time I use them, you spit venom back in my face. I used to blame myself for my father leaving. I used to have a joke growing up where someone would call my name and I would automatically say, what did I do? And you see, people They didn't catch it. They weren't catching it. I was already blaming myself continuously no matter where I went, no matter what happened. It was my fault. When my stepfather cheated on my mother, I blamed myself. It was my fault. It was my fault. Because I had requested and wanted my mom to just spend some more time with me. See, that's the amazing thing about Satan. He will take something that was meant to be about love and conscrew it and constrict it and turn it into something ugly. Me writing a letter as a child to my mom saying, I miss us watching Gilmore Girls, was enough to make her husband go and cheat. And enough for me to start blaming myself. As a child, that's a lot. As a child, that's a lot. But at 33, I now know I had nothing to do with anything that man had going on. I have nothing to do with anything any of these men have going on. I am nothing like them and will never be anything like them and don't want to be anything like them. I am that I am. You are you. I grew up in a household where apologies were randomly said by adults, but was continuously said by me. I grew up feeling depressed, suicidal, anxious, distressed, paranoid. I remember my mother saying to me, your stepdad doesn't want to be left alone. It was something along these lines too. I was a child when she said this. Your stepdad doesn't want to be left alone with you because he's scared that you might lie and say that he touched you. I have never uttered those words in this story out of my mouth. Because to me it was very odd that that would be something that a man would even think a child would say if it didn't happen. But I'm going to leave these things on record. I am going to leave these things on record now. Because everything that happens in the dark comes to light. There is a reason why your husband said that. If you knew your child, which you would have assumed you would have known me back then, you would have known that was never anything even in my mind. And I've said this even to my niece. Be careful who you have a child around because somebody might plant something in their mind. And it will grow to torment them, depending on what the seed is. I never once, ever, have I ever lied and said, first of all, I never once really want to be left alone with any man. As a child, I never, for what? You're weird. For my mother to not take a step back and say, that's an odd hot topic. For me as a father, if I start dating somebody and the first thing within the first couple months they trying to tell me, oh, well, they don't want to be left alone with Choco because they don't want me to think that they're molesting them. I'm sorry, did this happen? Can I get some context? Did this happen to a friend of yours? Is there a reason why you would assume I would be checking to see if he was like... I was a girl. I was a little girl. But because he was a police officer for Los Angeles PD, you took that man's word over your child. And it could have been a real fucked up situation where I would have, could have happened to me. And you as my mother wouldn't have given two fly fucks because mama got to have a life too, right? Mama got to have a life too, right? How many movies do y'all watch? And y'all think, oh, well, it's just a movie. No, how many times have y'all heard stories where a mom is just, well, you know, he liked little girls, so I just, you know, and that's my husband, so make excuses for a nigga. You make a lot of excuses for a nigga that was trying to tell you that I would set him up as a child. I ain't never did that. I had never stolen at that time. I was the Christianish little motherfucker. Look, I'm going to church and stuff. Why would you think that? You allowed Satan to come into your house and whisper in your motherfucking ear, and you think that's cool? You think I'm supposed to be quiet till I die? You hoping I be quiet till I die. Got it. Okay. Got it. I'm getting it. I'm downloading as I'm talking. Call me crazy, call me whatever. As long as you call me Jebediah at the end of it. I would never. Like I said, the first thought is going to be my last thought when it comes to me and my kids. I'm watching a girl next door cracked out. Living with her mama. But her mama got to have a life too. You made the baby. I didn't ask to be here. I never not once asked you for me to be here. If I remember correctly, I wasn't even supposed to be born. There was a child before me that passed away. You had my brother before me, or before that. You wasn't supposed to have no other kids. I'm a mistake. But I'm the best looking, acting, holier than that. Are you kidding me? Y'all trying to go so far to destroy me. Y'all tried so hard to destroy me. I remember the time that I tried to kill myself in front of my grandma's house. I tried to kill myself. And you sent me in a fucking ambulance, drugged up. You may as well have left me in my car to die because you didn't give a fuck about me. I don't know what, I think it's the guilt that a parent would feel that, oh, I allowed you to kill yourself. But if I would have died, you wouldn't have given a fuck. You would have went on with your life, bro. Ain't shit, when shit wouldn't have changed for you. You would have still been going out late at night getting dinner for a nigga that can, but won't go do it for himself. And ain't never had to go do it for himself. But want to talk about me and what I'm doing for myself. That's disrespectful as fuck from one man to another, my dude. I need no advice about being a man when I can go out and hunt for myself with 3 herniated discs. Are you kidding me? When I can go play up and down a goddamn jungle gym, trying my hardest, and all I had to do, but y'all mad because I gotta drink a beer and smoke a blunt, but I got 3 herniated discs, and I'm in motherfucking pain 24 fucking seconds while I'm sitting here right now, but it's very important that I get this video out, but I'm in pain. You gave me trauma. You gave me PTSD. And then want to walk around it like it don't mean nothing. It means something to me. It means something to my father. The storms that you see right now, what are we talking about? I'm not about to calm down. I'm not going to take my foot off your necks because you kept your chain around me. You tried your hardest to drown me. You sent me in an ambulance drugged up with 2 men that I woke up trying to figure out. No, the paramedic was slapping the fuck out of me. He was slapping the fuck out of me, mama, in the back of that goddamn ambulance. Thank God I happened to open my eyes because the nigga probably still be slapping the fuck out of me. And then the story keep going where I bust out the ambulance because I'm trying to figure out why am I getting hit, slapped, punched. Who am I fighting? I'm trying to just kill myself. Who am I fighting? I'm trying to end my life. Who am I fighting? You done backstep me 10 motherfucking steps. Who am I fighting? It's you. It's been y'all. Instead of you getting in the ambulance with me, mama, you sent a girl in the ambulance with 2 niggas. High off of Seroquel. Yeah. Yeah. You had to stay there. You had to make sure AJ had dinner though, huh? Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. I came too. I remember that. And it was by the grace of God, because you didn't show up to the hospital. No. Let's finish the story time. She didn't show up to the hospital, guys. She didn't show up to the hospital, guys. I bust out that ambulance. Delusional as fuck. I cannot tell y'all how I even got from the hospital back to my mama's house. My brain must have just knew. It thought, amen. It thought we were going back to safety. It thought my mama was supposed to be safe. When you play tag and you run everywhere and all of a sudden you know you about to be tagged, blah, blah, you run to your mom first. Okay, I'm safe. Home, time out. It was no timeout for me. It was no timeout for me. It was constant. I get back to the house. My cousin is living in the house. My cousin is in the house because I've asked, can this person come stay in the house?